It's showtime.
Yeah, man.
What's up, good people? Oh, I got to be interrupted. I am looking kind of strong. Yeah, I agree with you. But anyway, what's up, good people?
Oh,
And welcome to the Frank Harris Show, the biggest, the baddest, and the best show on earth. We got Dominican E in the building. You know, E, we got to go right into this trade, E. And by the way, I know I'm looking good, E. And let me tell you this, E. Pause. But let me tell you this. I got a bet. E. Just so you know, I got a bet. March 15th, right? Hakeem, I'm saying this on the air. Hakeem has bet me that he's going to be in better shape than me by March 15th. E, I'm going to send him a clip of this, so I just let him know what the competition looks like right now, because he's in trouble right now, E. March 15th, he think he's going to look better than me. Now, E, it's like a joke. I wondered if he was talking about March 15th, 2026.
yeah.
And you know how he eating and how he looking right now, E? Crazy, bro.
Yeah.
E, crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, E, let's get right into it, E. Trade Central, hot off the presses, possibly the biggest trade that we've seen in maybe ever in the NBA, possibly ever. Luka Dončić going to the Lakers, Anthony Davis, leaving the Lakers and going to the Mavericks. Blockbuster trade, Eric. Viscerally, first question, simple. Who got the best of the trade from your perspective?
I think the Dallas Mavericks got the better of the trade. I think they got the better of the trade. I think with the way the roster is constructed with the Mavericks, where you got Kyrie, you got the young fellas there, you got Anthony Davis. I think they won that trade. I think they won that trade.
Okay, so I think both teams absolutely won. And you know what's ironic, E? You chose the Mavericks. Most people in the internet world, most of these pundits, experts in general, have given the Mavericks very low grades on the trade. Most people have said the Lakers overwhelmingly won the trade. And I think it's crazy to say that, okay? So let's break this thing down. One, I think both teams benefit. Anthony Davis to the Mavericks is a right now move. I think that puts the Mavericks right up there with OKC in that conference. All right. I think, maybe arguably one of the best defensive front courts right now in the NBA with Anthony Edwards, Lively coming off that bench. Gafford is very good. PJ Washington, I mean, that's a very, very solid defensive front court. Incredibly solid. Kyrie now is doing what he does. Kyrie's running the team now, ball in his hands. You got perimeter defenders like Grimes. Eric Grimes is another very solid perimeter defender, right? Learned for years under the Knicks coach, Tom Thibodeau. So I think right now the Mavericks may be the second best team, I would say, today in the West. And the Lakers get a star. The Lakers are about star power. They get Luka Dončić. He's their star of the future. But for me, Eric, I think both teams benefited. But the Luka, one part of it, Eric, is the question mark for me on a few levels. One, if Anthony Davis is healthy, that's the only question mark on Davis. But we know when he's healthy what his productivity is. And he's 31, and he's had an injury history, so we know that. But if he's healthy, what a great piece. And by the way, Jason Kidd hated coaching Luka Dončić. You know that. Because Jason Kidd was a guy that moved the ball fast, and Jason Kidd was a guy that played defense. And Luka Dončić epitomizes none of that. He's out of shape all the time, okay? He doesn't epitomize the face of a franchise. So the Lakers are bringing a guy that has talent, Eric, ability, but does he fit in the mold of being the leader? LeBron James led the Lakers for years. Magic Johnson led the Lakers for years. Guys that are committed to basketball, that are serious about basketball, that are not just generational talents, Eric, but generational leaders, okay? And Luka Dončić has not exhibited that. And so while on paper the Lakers have their star of the future, I just don't know, Eric, if Luka is going to do the things off the court. On the court, he's pretty good, right? Outside of playing defense, I said last year he was the worst defensive player in the NBA, right? And you told me he was he's a good defender.
No, I didn't say. I said he was mediocre, Frank. Don't say.
You said he was average. Eric, he's not mediocre. He's at the very, very bottom of defenders. And part of it is he gives no effort.
Yeah.
Right? It's like Olay, okay? So while he's great, right, on the offensive end of the court, and people love to see scores and points and passes, he over dribbles, number one, okay? But Eric, his commitment to his body, his conditioning, and his leadership are very questionable. So can you win with Luka Dončić till you get over the hump and be a championship team,
Mhm.
right? So I think both teams have benefit, but I think the way it currently stands, I know what I'm going to get from AD, and I think Dallas right now is a contender. I think the Lakers still need another move. The Lakers right now, Eric, additionally have the worst front court right now, arguably, in the NBA.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They're too small.
You got, I mean,
They're too small. Too small in the front court. They're too small. So, unless
but they don't even have good height, right? Like we say small, even if the guys that they have, I mean, Jackson Hayes is maybe a starting center now, right? He's a perennial backup, right? You got LeBron James playing a 4 now, probably not the right. I mean, LeBron James is probably really a 3. Okay, like LeBron, but listen, LeBron James now is guarding AD if the Lakers play the Mavericks, right? LeBron guards AD because they both are playing the 4 potentially.
Yeah.
Okay, LeBron is too small for the 4. LeBron's really a 3, so you have no big men at all. And by the way, defensively, how about this defense for the Lakers? Your best 3 players, Reeves, horrible defensively. Luka, as I said, I think is the worst defensive player in the NBA. And last, you got LeBron James, who's just old now.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's just old. He can't play defense anymore.
But even offensively, Frank, I don't think it's going to work because you got Luka, who's ball dominant, right? The ball doesn't move with him, right? You know, LeBron needs the ball in his hands, right? Even though LeBron is a facilitator, you know, what he makes the right reads. But I just don't think it's going to work. I think the way the Mavericks are constructed, the way the roster is constructed, when now you got AD, the centerpiece, right? Great defensive player. You got Kyrie now running the show, and you got those good young players around him. I think that roster and the way the roster is constructed, I think that the Mavericks won that trade just because of that, the way the roster is constructed. Now you add a centerpiece, a defensive, you know, first team all defensive player to that roster, and I think, like you said, they might. I don't know if they'll, you know, leapfrog over OKC, but they're right in the mix.
I mean, they're in the conference finals at OKC, right? Right now, I think the way it's currently configured, I got them in the conference finals because I don't think Memphis is real. And by the way, you know, I've always said this, Eric, for years and years and years. So many things that I say always come to fruition. Okay, I've said this for years and years and years. Ja Morant is going to get. Ja Morant is.
I'm gonna call you Cleo.
Ja Morant is going to be a perennially hurt player. He's always injured, right? You can't be 175 pounds, 6'1", 2 max, and everything is way up in the air, off the ground. You keep getting knocked down. You're jumping 45 inches off the ground every time you go to the basket. You can't play with that level of pounding, Eric. That's one thing, like Steph Curry examples of a little guy that's had longevity and not a lot of injuries because he plays on the floor, right? Yeah. Even the great LeBron James, as athletic as he is, LeBron James is not always playing in the sky, right? It's hard, Eric, for a little guard like Ja Morant to play at that level in the sky, get knocked down with that level of physicality in the NBA, with the level of physicality in the NBA. I knew he'd be hurt. But anyway, so I don't believe in Memphis as a 2 right now. So if you look at the West, the Lakers are maybe like 4 or 5 still because, right, you got Houston is real. I love Houston. I love Houston.
They ain't real, Frank. Come on, Frank. They're not real, Frank. Come on.
Well, I mean, look, okay, but OKC is really real. Right? When I say Houston is real, I mean they're a real talented team. When I say real, I don't think that they're real.
Team. I'll give you that, but they're not.
Right, they're not real. They're not real to win the conference championship, right? To win the West. I'm not saying that. Okay. So my point I'm making is right outside of OKC, the way it's currently configured, outside of OKC, right, and maybe Denver, right, Dallas. Outside of those 3, OKC, Denver, and Dallas, the Lakers could be the 4th best team if they add a big, right? They're talking about getting Kessler, right? The kid who went to Auburn, who plays for the Utah Jazz. They talked about getting, what's the big man? Valanciunas from the Wizards. If you add Valanciunas or you add a Kessler, are the Lakers not the 4th best team maybe in the West? I mean, I would pick them ahead of Memphis. I would probably pick them ahead of the Clippers right now.
Yeah.
Right?
That's about right.
So still a 4 or 5 seed, probably maybe even 4, get a first round home court advantage series. But look, Luka everybody's raving about the Luka part of it. And I understand that because the Lakers, LA, superstar, etc. And you assume other players will want to come because it's LA, Eric. But I just don't know if the bright lights of LA and Luka Dončić's lack of, again, conditioning, leadership. I mean, Eric, the guy's having a beer outside of the locker room after a game, right? The guy comes into training camp 20 pounds, 30 pounds overweight every year. If you think about the great Laker teams. Okay, when Magic Johnson lost in the summertime, he would lock himself in his house, and cry all summer and just work on his game and get better. They said the man shouldn't shoot free throws. He led the NBA, I believe, in free throw shooting one year. They said a man couldn't do this. He did that. The sacrifices that Magic made, and these are the eras of great Laker players, right? You had the Magic era, and then you talk about Kobe, right? It was the next iteration of Laker leadership. Kobe was the epitome of hard work, commitment, putting basketball first, et cetera, Mamba mentality. And then the next iteration of Laker greatness went from Magic to Kobe to LeBron, right? LeBron is another guy, Eric, that doesn't cheat the game as it relates to taking care of his body, as it relates to leadership, as it relates to all of those things that LA superstars have epitomized up until this point. Luka Dončić does not at all equate to that. And by the way, let me just say one thing you just said that I disagree with, because I want to say this before I forget. I don't agree with you when you say that Luka and LeBron can't play together. I mean, LeBron played with Kyrie, who's a ball-dominant guy. LeBron James played with Dwayne Wade, who's a ball-dominant guy. So, I mean, as well, and they coexisted. And Luka played with Kyrie. So I think Luka and LeBron will be fine. And by the way, Luka's the guy now. And LeBron, let me just say this last piece, E, and you jump in. And LeBron has also really improved his three-point shooting, right? And I also think this will give LeBron more years, right, on his basketball life, because instead of him now having to make all the plays like he has to do right now, right, from a facilitation, from a scoring perspective, now Luka can take a lot of that load off of LeBron, and LeBron James can play more off the ball and not deal with as much wear and tear.
Okay, I'll give you that. But as of right now, so LeBron is going to take a back seat. That's what you're basically saying. He's going to take a back seat to Luka and be the number.
Unequivocally. I mean, that's not even close. Okay. And by the way, LeBron was trying to take a backseat to AD forever. But I think the Lakers just felt like AD couldn't do it. I've always said AD is not the player that you ain't winning the championship with AD as your leader. AD's a great player, but AD can't be, when I say leader, he's the best player now in Dallas, but is he carrying the team to the championship? I'm not sure AD can do that. As great as he is, right? And so LeBron, Eric, he's been wanting to defer, at least he's been saying that, to AD for years. It just never worked out that way. LeBron right now, right, is absolutely going to be deferential to Luka Dončić. Nobody brought Luka Dončić to LA. He's the next star. He's the guy they're talking about. LeBron absolutely is the number 2 player right now at the Lakers. He's still LeBron, obviously, but in terms of ball handling, decisions that you're making organizationally, those decisions are centered around Luka Dončić now, not LeBron James.
No, I'm just saying because of the ego factor of who LeBron James is, right? LeBron James is the NBA, right? So now you're bringing in another superstar, right? LA spotlight, and I don't know if LeBron is willing to give up that throne right now. I don't think he's willing to do that.
I mean, I don't think anybody thinks LeBron James is the best player in the NBA right now, so he can still be the king and not the best player. He's still LeBron James, historically, for what he accomplished. I don't think anybody puts LeBron James at the top. You said willing to give up what? He's not the best player in the NBA right now. What do you mean? People in the NBA and outside of the NBA think Luka Dončić right now is a better player than LeBron. Give up what? No one thinks LeBron right now is better than Jokic, Giannis, Luka Dončić. No one feels like LeBron's better than those guys. What do you mean? Give up what?
I mean, Frank, he's held the throne for over 10 years as probably.
But not as the best player in the game, Eric. He don't hold that throne. He's not the best player in the NBA right now. He's still LeBron James. Like when Michael Jordan was with the Wizards, he was still Michael Jordan, but there's another player better than you. There are multiple players in the NBA that are better than LeBron James.
Yeah, but
I mean, you can argue Anthony Davis is better than LeBron James.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the guy's almost what? He's 40, about to be 41.
Right. So you don't got no throne no more in terms of the best player in the league. Luka Dončić is a better player. And LeBron James would acknowledge that, I'm sure. LeBron James can't think he's a better player today offensively than Luka Dončić. He ain't.
I'm just saying as far as giving up that, yes, he probably thinks he's, Luka Dončić is better and stuff like that. But I'm just thinking of just giving up that prestigious throne of like, I am the man, I'm the guy of the NBA. I'm the guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
But Eric, you're talking about two different things. He doesn't have to give up that. He's still LeBron James. It doesn't mean he's the best player on his team.
No.
Right? Michael Jordan was still Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan
even
wasn't the
Michael,
best player on the
even Michael,
Washington
but
Wizards.
even Michael
I
Jordan,
mean, might have been the best player on the Washington. Huh?
even Michael Jordan,
In the NBA.
even with Michael Jordan, when he was with the Wizards, in his mind, he thought he still had a chance to win championships. He thought he was one of the greatest players still at the time.
But Eric, but nobody in the NBA, right, realistically would say Michael Jordan was the best player in the NBA at that point.
No.
So the point I'm making to you, at some point, LeBron James understands the guy's a better player, Eric. It doesn't mean that LeBron James still is not LeBron James, the player with the most acclaim, notoriety, the player that still moves the meter as it relates to, ticket sales, jersey sales, and as well as TV, right? People watching games. No one's taking that away. But on the floor, LeBron James is no longer the best player in the NFL and NBA, excuse me. And everybody acknowledges that. By the way, E, let me just shift gears and say this, right? Will you please, I'm gonna look in the camera. Will you please stop with this narrative where everybody's acting as if LeBron James didn't know that the trade was coming, right? And that everybody was blindsided and it was this like super ultra secretive. Stop. It's no way that the Lakers do something of this magnitude and LeBron James doesn't know. There's a 0%. LeBron James runs the Lakers. We all know that. Like let's stop.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You see what's happening with his son?
That's a fact.
And let me just say this piece too, right? Both teams, and Luka Dončić's team knew as well. Let's stop this, bro. Because you know why? Both teams needed to know that these players were going to be okay re-signing, all right, happy with the trade. You don't trade Luka Dončić to a team, Eric. You understand what I'm saying? That he doesn't want to go to and that he may not re-up. The Lakers have to know that Luka Dončić is going to re-up and he wants to be there. The Lakers are not going to give away AD, right, a first-round pick assets for a guy who they're unsure wants to be there, one. And the same thing with Dallas. Dallas is not going to make the trade if AD said, no, I want to stay in LA, number one. And number two, right before they pull the trigger, they had to speak to Rich Paul, who is Anthony Davis's agent, who also is LeBron James's guy, and LeBron James put him on, right? So there's no way they called 48 hours before the trade and said, we're going to trade AD for Luka Dončić, and then Rich Paul didn't tell LeBron.
Yeah.
Like I hate when these people, right, act like we're just dumb, Eric. Like we're just dumb. So LeBron James had, and I get it, LeBron James, Luka Dončić, they want the fan bases to love them, right? They want everybody to love them. AD knows that LeBron James knew that they was trading him, right? Come on, Eric. Will they stop with that nonsense that LeBron and Luka didn't know? It was this top secret clandestine environment where it was like some Spygate, some crazy top secret talks, Eric, somewhere. Come on, Eric. Stop with that foolishness. Yeah. LeBron knew, AD knew, Luka knew, and Jason Kidd knew. Stop. I understand the GMs are taking a hit. They're putting it on them. But there's no way Jason Kidd doesn't know you making that trade, and Jason Kidd will have to coach the player.
Yeah. I mean, the LeBron definitely knew before.
Come on, Eric.
Yeah, LeBron definitely knew that. I mean, like you said, he runs the Lakers, so he had to know.
He run the NBA. You can argue. So realistically, there's no way that a trade of that magnitude is happening, and LeBron James doesn't know. And I get it. LeBron James always wants to have the appearance that he's not meddling in affairs, but it's like so egregious and so offensive that they keep pushing that narrative that LeBron didn't know, LeBron James is not involved, that Rob Pelinka is just, operating with himself and the Buss family. Let's stop doing that. Yeah. LeBron James knew, Luka Dončić knew. I get it. Luka wants to stay ingratiated to the fans in Dallas. He had a great career there. Phenomenal. Both sides knew the trade was happening. E.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see. We'll see what happens. Sure. But I don't know if Luka is the material, right, of what Laker greatness is made of. And maybe they feel like him being around LeBron, right, and him being around, but like what's more important to him, leadership or hamburgers and French fries, right? That's the real question. Coming in.
Maybe he commits himself now to getting in better shape, and maybe committing to playing better defense, and maybe he wants to win a championship.
E, it's fool's gold. E, let me tell you why it's fool's gold. Okay. It's fool's gold because the guy, let me tell you what the fool's goal is. The guy is so good on the court being the way he is. Okay. So he's a dominant top 3 player in the NBA, top 5 for sure, maybe top 5 for sure. Right. Without having to be in shape. He's crazy. right? People look at him as a top 5 player in the NBA. So what's going to, and by the way, he's led his team to a championship, even though they got demolished by Boston. And I feel like they got there because the cards fell well for them in the playoffs. But they got demolished by Boston,
Yeah.
okay? But he's led his team to conference finals as well, conference finals and championships, okay? Being out of shape, playing no defense, and being the player that he currently is, okay? It takes a special guy, E, to want to take the next step, like Kobe would have wanted to do, right? Like Magic wanted to do when he was competing against Larry Bird, when he was looking in the mirror every day trying to figure out how to get past the Boston Celtics. Magic Johnson did.
Frank,
when Mamba mentality existed, right?
Let me say this, because, I mean, there's
a
lot of great players that have the same approach as Luka Dončić, right? Shaq was like that. Shaq was a guy that will not be in shape and will still be dominant, will still be a top 5 player in the NBA in his position, right? So, I mean, maybe going to the Lakers might change his mentality. Maybe say, you know what, I need to get in better shape. But there's guys that, take the off season and don't do anything and just come back and still be great. Maybe
just to be clear, they're not guys, plural. Shaq may be the only player in the history that could do that. And Shaq wasn't in horrible shape, Eric, right? He wasn't in the best shape. But early Shaq was still very, very good. Not in the best shape.
Shaq was dominant. He was dominant.
But and by the way, let's just say this. Shaq is 7'1", 280 pounds, and he's an anomaly, right? And by the way, Shaq could also dominate on both ends of the floor being out of shape. Luka Dončić plays no defense, Eric. None. So Luka Dončić is dominant offensively, but Shaq was so skilled and by the way, and Shaq, as bad of shape as he was in from time to time, Shaq is still in way better shape than Luka when he comes in. Luka's embarrassing, Eric. He's 40 pounds overweight, and he plays he's like him and James Harden are those guys right now. Like James Harden is like that too. The guy just chills with, he's giving little baby honey buns in the off season, and then he comes in, he's eating honey buns all day, and then he comes in to training camp way out of shape, and then he plays way back into shape at some point. He looks, but he's still skilled enough to be great, right? Lefty, very good, understands the game, shoots.
There's not a lot of guys, and B is that, and B is the typical of that, right? The guy that doesn't take the off season very seriously.
Yeah, Embiid is one. Right? And by the way, how has that worked out for him?
Not good for Embiid.
Right. So just so you know, the Lakers are not paying for that. Right. They didn't trade the assets away, and they brought Luka not to be that. And that's the road. And by the way, Luka's hurt a lot as well.
Yeah.
And by the way, and Luka's going to get worse. He's 25, Eric. As you get older, when you don't take care of your body and you put in this level of stress and wear and tear on it, right? What made LeBron James able to have this level of longevity is the way he took care of himself. You can't, Luka's, when you're younger, Eric, you can bounce back. You can do those things. Luka's now 25, Eric, right? Now, then you become 28.
Still young, Frank. 25 is still young.
But Eric, you're getting older, and your body, as you don't take care of it and you come out of shape, right, it's not going to bounce back as fast.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So now, let's switch gears a little bit, Eric. It's amazing how. So let's see what happens with Myles Garrett, by the way, in the NFL. Myles Garrett today, great defensive player for, maybe the best defensive player in the NFL, you can argue, for the Browns, requested a trade. It's going to be interesting to see how that works. It's amazing how the trade requests work in the NBA, okay? So let's move on to another one, Eric. So we get to Jimmy Butler in a minute, but De'Aaron Fox, Sacramento Kings, which, by the way, they fired Mike Brown, and the argument was they fired Mike Brown because he criticized Fox, remember? And then him and Fox didn't get along. So they fired Mike Brown, who was the coach of the year, I think, a year or two before. The best coach in the NBA. Now, all of a sudden, the guy can't coach and you fire him. And then the player that he was allegedly beefing with, then a few months later, Eric, says, I don't want to be here. Okay? And he says, I don't want to be here. And then he says, I want to go play with Victor Wembanyama. Okay? I want to go play for the Spurs. And I've said this multiple times in our conversations on the show, Eric, that the NBA was going to give Wembanyama some players.
Oh, yeah.
He's the future of the NBA. Oh, yeah. And we knew the NBA was going to make sure he got some players.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
That's a fact.
And so when this man said he wanted to go to San Antonio Spurs, Eric, and his agent is Rich Paul, powerful agent, LeBron James' guy, probably now the most powerful agent in the NBA. Okay? When he said, I want to go to the Spurs, what happened, Eric? A few days later, who is he playing for? The Spurs.
Yes, sir. Playing for the Spurs.
He's playing for the Spurs.
Yep.
Huh, E?
Yeah.
Crazy. So now, let me say this, Eric. I think Fox is great. Okay, Fox, Wembanyama, and by the way, Wembanyama had to okay that. You and I both know that. They went to Wembanyama and they said, "Will you be okay playing with this guy?" And Wembanyama had to say yes.
Nah, Frank, I don't think Wembanyama has that type of power this early in
Are
the
you
game.
are you out of your mind?
Frank, come on.
In the NBA,
Come on.
the NBA is a players' league.
They probably went to Popovich first. They ain't going to get Wembanyama. He's too young in the game to get that much, credit as far as decision making. No way, Frank. No way.
Did you bump your head?
They went to Popovich first.
Did you bump your head?
They went to Popovich first.
I didn't say.
Go ahead.
Okay. At what point did I say who they went to first? I didn't say. At no point did I spell out any order. I didn't say they went to Wembanyama first. I just said if Wembanyama said I don't want to play with De'Aaron Fox, he would not be a San Antonio Spur. What are you talking about?
Nah.
If Wembanyama said that guy, so they would have bought a play and then Wembanyama didn't want to play with?
No, Frank. Wembanyama, he's a great young player, but he doesn't have that much
pull. I'm asking you.
So much pull, Frank. He doesn't have that much pull. They don't have that much pull, Frank. No way.
So if Wembanyama doesn't want to play with De'Aaron Fox, the Spurs would have brought him in? I asked you that question.
Yeah, they would have brought him in. They would have brought him in. Of course, they would have brought him in.
You must have bumped your head, bro.
Nah, Frank. Nah, I disagree with you on this one, Frank. Wembanyama's a great talent, but they're not basing decision making around Wembanyama. Come on, Frank. Let's be real. The kid's a good young player, but they're not gonna base their franchise on a young man that just been in the league for 2 years. Come on, Frank. Now, if you tell me back in the day, Tim Duncan, maybe yes, Tim Duncan, but not Wembanyama. Come on, Frank. No.
Wait, so first of all, you just said two things that are the craziest things I've ever heard before. Okay?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Thing number one. You just said Wembanyama is a good young player. He's the best young player in the NBA probably, and he's the face of the new NBA. So don't say he's a good young player. That's the most.
He's a great player. He's a good young player. Second year in the NBA. What you want to say? He's a great young player.
Can I ask you a question? Is he the guy that they're pushing to be the face of the league?
Yes, I'll give you that. Yes.
Okay, that's one. Number two, Victor Wembanyama as a player today is better than Tim Duncan. You can argue was his second year. So why would Tim Duncan have the right to say yes? And by the way, hold on.
Whoa.
Victor Wembanyama. Wait, hold on. Victor Wembanyama, for the record, the NBA, the organization, everybody is putting way more weight on him than Tim Duncan ever.
Of course.
So when you say,
I'll give you that.
Okay, hold on. So why would Tim Duncan have the right? You said if Tim Duncan, yes, maybe 2 years in, why would Tim Duncan have more right to have say so than Victor Wembanyama 2 years in? I'm listening. You just said that.
2 years in? No, I'm talking about the Tim Duncan throughout his duration at the time of being in San Antonio.
We're talking about at the same time. So just so you know, Victor Wembanyama 100% had say so in that situation. This is one thing I'm 1,000% sure of. It's no way his representatives and him have no say so in who's playing with him. That's one. It's no way. Number two.
You give these players too much credit, Frank. I don't think that he has.
But I'm not giving him credit. This is the NBA. The NBA is a players' league. Forget about me.
You know that.
The NBA is a.
You know that, Frank. It's a players' league.
It's a players' league. This is not the NFL.
The stars, not a guy.
And Victor Wembanyama is a star. He's the best defensive player in the NBA right now.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Right now, defensive player of the year right away. Rookie didn't deserve probably to be an all-star. Maybe not. Got it over some people that may have deserved it ahead of him. Right? Maybe not. But he's the face of the league. Now, I ask you, fit. He's the next guy in the NBA. By the way, all the international players that got drafted, right? Why did the NBA play in Paris this year during the regular season?
We all know that.
They just played in Paris last week.
We know that. We know it's all part
of. So there's no way he can have no say so who he playing with. So you gonna make me the face of the league where you just gonna give me who you want to give me? Eric, what are you talking about, bro? That's counterintuitive. Like you a smart guy. That don't even make sense.
Like I said,
I'm the face of the league, but you telling me I'm
Popovich is the one that's the one they go to, Frank.
I'm not saying Popovich. Popovich absolutely had a hand in it. I'm not disagreeing with that. But there's no way Wembanyama did not have a hand in accepting the De'Aaron. Because Eric, he got to play. If they're going to re-sign De'Aaron Fox, This is point guard now for the next 7 years,
Okay.
6 years. Okay? Ain't no way, right, that he gonna play. So now the question is this: fit. I like the pick and roll fit. Remember when he was? I mean, that got him fired. But the problem, Eric, is it's very hard to get free agents that are good to come play there.
Oh, yeah.
So guys like Monk went there. Guys like
Sabonis.
DeMar DeRozan,
Yeah.
Sabonis in a trade. But listen, the problem with them is I don't know who's their point guard now.
Yeah. Listen.
Right, unless they like Carter enough, right? Devin Carter, the kid they drafted out of Providence last year, right? Whose father was Anthony Carter was an NBA guy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's really a point guard, but he's a guy that can rebound good for a guard. He plays hard. He plays D.
Listen,
but I don't know.
It's just sad to me, Sacramento, with that fan base. I think they got to be the best fans in the NBA. I think they got to be the best fan base in the NBA.
Well, I'm not that, but very good though. I think you can make that argument. They have a good fan.
They deserve to have a good product out there, night in, night out. And,
Eric, who wants to play in Sacramento? Eric, if you a player, who wants to go to Sacramento?
Yeah, I know.
I hate to say it.
Yeah.
So now, Eric. So now this brings us to the Jimmy Butler saga. We got to talk about it.
Okay.
The Jimmy Butler saga continues. So first of all, we talked about this before. Jimmy Butler is doing what he does everywhere. It's all love and kisses and hugs and kisses when Jimmy Butler comes in, and it always devolves, often does, into something crazy. Okay. So now, a few days ago, a report came out that Steph Curry and Steve Kerr, okay, were very concerned and didn't think that Jimmy Butler would be a potentially good fit in their culture and in their locker room. That came out. That Kerr and Curry were unsure if he would be a good fit in their locker room. Okay? A few days later now, Jimmy Butler told the Golden State Warriors, don't try to trade for me now. He just told them, right? Don't trade for me because I'm not going to re-sign with you. So now they're out the hunt. They're out the hunt, E. It's amazing. They were one of the teams that was in the mix.
Yeah.
And I think he might have gone there. And then Curry and them said what they said. And then he was like, I ain't going to play for you guys now.
Yeah. I think with all that crazy stuff, and I think it would have worked at Sacramento. I mean, at Golden State. I think it would have worked. Right? You got Draymond.
Well,
you got Butler there. I think it would have worked. Me personally, I think it would have worked.
So right now, Jimmy Butler is putting I think he may end up in Miami still. I mean, Eric, well, maybe not. But how do the Suns pull off a trade? I mean, Eric, all the teams that you thought about that he would potentially go to are no longer available to get him, right? Golden State is out.
Are the Suns still involved?
They're involved, Eric, but they don't have the assets, and Bradley Beal has to waive his no-trade clause, number one. Nobody wants Bradley Beal's Supermax contract. That's the problem. Who wants Bradley Beal? Like, if you're the Heat, you don't want Bradley Beal.
Because of the contract, I can see that. But
with all those years. So the problem is nobody wants Bradley Beal, and then with all the luxury tax ramifications, etc. Listen, what other team is available to take him that he would go to?
Yeah.
Right, I mean, that's the real question. Like, Dallas is out. The Lakers are out now. Not that they would have been in to start with. I mean, do the Clippers try to get him? And I don't think they have the assets, really. I'm sure Houston don't want him.
Yeah.
Because they got something going great with their young players. Yeah. So outside the Suns, Eric, if the Suns can't figure
the Suns, I think the Suns, right? He would have to waive his no trade clause. And who doesn't want to be in Miami? Who doesn't want to be in Miami? Shit.
Jimmy Butler clearly doesn't want to be in Miami.
He was there for numerous of years. I'm just
saying. Eric, let me say this. Let me say this, Eric.
Pay him, but I'm pretty sure he would love to stay there.
Let me say this, Eric. I think Pat Riley right now, okay, is I think that cultural stuff was cool before with Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, and Wade, and culture and dissing your superstars and you being a guy like Riley was, ain't working with these guys today, number one. And so as great as Miami is as a destination place, you wonder if players are going to want to play with Riley because Riley is so overbearing and even disrespectfully overbearing as it relates to the players. And so you wonder as much of a destination as Miami is, Eric, which it is, okay. You wonder. And by the way, also I heard Milwaukee wanted Butler potentially. He said he don't want to play for Milwaukee, another team that he said no to. But anyway, you wonder if Riley is making it a non-destination spot because of his shenanigans.
Yeah.
You wonder, right? So let's say, and listen, the other side of it is Butler may be back in Miami, which should be interesting. Let me just go back for a second. Do you think, and then I want to talk a little bit of football. Do you think, Eric, that when Anthony Davis came out a couple of weeks ago and he was doing the interview, I think with Sharms, the new guy that took Woj's spot,
Yes.
And he said, I think we're a couple of pieces away. We need a big man. I don't like playing the 5. I'm a 4-man, he said, when he was still a Laker. And he said, when we were good, when we won the championship, they had Dwight Howard and they had McGee. And so he's better. And so that statement in itself, it speaks a lot of your confidence in your GM. It speaks a lot. And if you're the GM and you Rob Pelinka, what does that say? You telling them you made a mistake when you didn't re-sign Dwight Howard and McGee, okay? You keep playing me out of position, and I'm not happy about it. Now go get me some players, right? Now LeBron James can do that because he's LeBron James. But you wonder, was that the final nail in the coffin for Anthony Davis as related to the Lakers when he made that statement? Was that the nail in the coffin?
Yeah, I think that was the nail in the coffin. But I mean, to AD's credit, he is right though. That formula when they played,
I agree.
That formula,
I've always said that.
That was the formula to win championships because they were huge, right?
But can you call out your team? But superstars do this. But and the Lakers have probably said you haven't done enough to have the status to call us out publicly, to say we're not doing our jobs correctly.
But I'm saying the writing's on the table, Frank. If we won with this formula.
Well, the writing's on the wall, not the table, but I hear you.
The wall. I'm just saying. So, right? So, if this formula works, which it did, why would you resort now to just having AD as your primary, front court player and playing him out of position? Obviously, he didn't want to play that position, right? So why would you change that? He's 100% correct. Now, that's probably what got him.
I agree. But let me tell you why you do that. Because LeBron James said, I want Russell Westbrook. And LeBron James can do that, right? Like, that's why. Because LeBron James every year says, let's rip it up and start from scratch again. And this is who I want. Like, that's why. But anyway, let's talk Super Bowl now, okay? Super Bowl Sunday on the way, okay? A lot of debate as it relates to Jalen Hurts level. We talked about Hurts versus Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's way better. But anyway, who you got winning the Super Bowl, Eric? And I'm going Patrick Mahomes all the way. Who you got?
I got Philadelphia, baby. I got Philadelphia. Blow the whistle, baby. Blow the whistle.
You're not changing your pick, right?
I'm not changing my pick. I'm going Philadelphia, baby. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's bring it home.
I got Mahomes all day long.
Let's bring it home. Baby.
Mahomes all day.
Let's bring it home.
Like I said before, Mahomes got elite defense, maybe top 5 defense in the NFL this year, right? Chris Jones is playing at a whole different level, and Mahomes just got the magic. Mahomes is something called Mahomes magic, man.
Listen.
And by the way, the Eagles in all the skill positions except for quarterback, you can argue except for tight end are better. The Eagles have better receivers. They have a better running back.
The offensive lineman is great. The offensive line is great.
But Eric, the quarterback is not.
But Frank,
right? So we'll see.
But Frank, listen, if they take this approach, listen to me, Eagle fans, the team and all coaches, listen to me. If you take this
Eagle fans, do the opposite. Whatever Eric says, Eagle fans, do the opposite. But go ahead, E.
Listen to me. Take this approach, which the Giants did when they beat the New England Patriots. We gotta manage the clock and we gotta run the ball. Run the ball with Saquon Barkley. Don't get frustrated if we get down. Stick to the game plan. Run the ball, and we're gonna win that game by just running the football, and we're gonna chew up the clock. Not give Mahomes time to come down and do his heroic plays. Let's chew up the clock, and we have Saquon Barkley just running the ball. And like I said before, if he goes for 150 and maybe 30 yards receiving, they will win the Super Bowl.
Hey, make sure you bring a lot of books for A.J. Brown to read on the sidelines. Just so you know, with your philosophy, make sure you bring a lot of books for A.J. Brown to be on the sidelines with that
Sometimes
philosophy.
we got to take a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Would Jalen Hurts have to make some throws? Yes. But the philosophy is let's run the football. Let's run the football. Let's run the football. And I always told you that, Frank. Running the football this time of the year is what's going to win you championships and what's going to win you Super Bowls, right? Run the ball and defense.
Well, that's not true, but okay.
I'm trying to tell you.
Right.
Listen, let me say this.
Eric, let me tell you that's not true. Mahomes is the reason why his teams wins, not because they're running the football. So stop doing that. Mahomes is the reason why they win.
That's one. But listen.
But that's the dynasty of now. What do you mean? That's the team of our era of this era right now, and they're about to three-peat.
Frank.
So you're saying that's one, but that's the team of this era. You know, in terms of philosophically, running backs are not valued as much. That's why they don't get paid.
Frank. How did the Giants beat the New England Patriots?
Eric, you talking about 30 years ago, bro. What are you talking about? You're talking about today's NFL.
Great defensive line, putting pressure on the quarterback and run the football.
Eric, how many years ago was that? How many years ago was that?
It doesn't matter. That's what wins games, Frank. That's what wins.
Eric, it's a different NFL today. Stop saying that, bro. The quarterbacks win the games. Eric, let me ask you a question. When Tom Brady was winning the games, not the running backs, if you want to go back even recently, Tom Brady was winning the games. Stop acting like running backs are winning NFL Super Bowls. They're not. Stop. Mahomes is winning the games, right? Not Pacheco. Your Dominican brother from Rutgers. He's a decent player, but he's not winning the game.
Frank.
You all right?
Frank.
He's not.
You got a great
Mahomes is winning the game.
Great defensive line, and you pressure Mahomes. And I'm not saying Hurts has to throw the ball 1,000 times. He could use his legs as well. Use your legs as well. Get out the pocket.
He hurt.
Plays.
He hurt. Remember, he hurt his knee. He ain't using his legs this game.
Shit, man. It's Super Bowl. All that go out the window, boy. All that go out the window. Shoot him up. You know you're going to shoot him up.
Oh, definitely going to get, yes.
So all that going to go out the window. It's Super Bowl time, Frank. You got all.
Right? Wembanyama picking and popping. De'Aaron Fox coming off the screen. But now, this is the interesting player. And I love this player. I think he's a very good young player. I like Stephen Castle a lot. Right? Castle.
Yes.
Stephen Castle, Stephen Castle, pronunciation. Very good player. 6'6", guard. Problem is this though, Eric, right? And I like him a lot. But Fox can't shoot. Okay? And Castle can't shoot. Okay? If that, and supposedly San Antonio was not willing to part with Castle. That was the chip that they wanted to keep because they're very high on him. I like him, Eric, but do you think that he fits in well, right, as a guard with Fox? Castle and Fox in your backcourt.
Yeah, I mean, you got a 6'6" guard, and you got a guy that's a driver like DeAndre Fox, right? I mean,
De'Aaron Fox, but okay, not DeAndre Fox.
When you say he can't shoot, the man is not a great shooter, but he can shoot. I mean, I don't know what's it.
What player is this?
Fox. When you say he can't shoot,
no.
When you say
Fox is like, if you describe Fox's game, his liability is his shooting, Eric. Okay. Fox gets into the paint as much as any guard in the NBA because he doesn't shoot. Fox is a below average NBA shooter. And Castle's below that.
Well,
so you got a backcourt.
Castle's a young player. I think he can develop into becoming a better shooter. I think he could
Eric, you got a backcourt right now that can't shoot the ball in today's NBA. Right? And by the way, Castle is like a utility guy. He can pass a little bit. He can rebound. He plays hard. He can finish. Will he knock down a shot from time to time? Maybe. But both of those guys are not really good shooters. Okay? So they're going to have to surround them with more shooting.
Okay. I mean,
right? Vassell is not bad. The kid, Vassell, is decent. The kid who went to Florida State, the guy that's there right now. But I don't know about the fit in terms of shooting.
I mean, I'm looking up his stats right now.
Whose stats?
DeAndre Fox, and I'm looking up his.
Eric, Fox is not a good shooter, bro. Come on, though. Why are we even wasting time having that debate? Fox 3-point shooting is not great, man. He's not a shooter. Fox is a driver. He's an elite driver. He gets to the rim.
He's not shooting great. I think he's shooting 32%.
Here we go. Now he's not shooting great. What's his percentage?
32.2 from 3.
I said he's not a shooter, Eric. Eric, please.
3-point range.
Bro, just, yo, I'm Google. Don't even go to Google. Just ask me and I'll give you the answer.
Listen,
Why you wasting your time
I
Googling? Just ask me,
I
bro.
just wanted to make sure. I mean,
I'm
I
Googling.
thought if he
You
was,
just ask me.
listen, I thought if he was in the, maybe the 38%, 38, 37% three.
38%. So the problem you got, and Caps was even worse than him, right? So the problem you got though, Eric, is of those two guys, you have no shooting in your backcourt. And Wembanyama can shoot, but you want Wembanyama to play a little bit more closer to the basket more, right? Wembanyama shooting all these jumpers all game long. I get it. Physically, he can't handle it, and so the bailout is the jump shot. He can shoot pretty good, but you want him closer to the basket more,
Yes.
right? Now let me say this: Zach LaVine to Sacramento, right? What do you think about that?
Nah. I mean, Sacramento is a franchise that, I mean, they had their glory years when the Chris Webbers and the Mike Bibbies, but after that, they don't get it right. I mean, I don't know what's going over there in Sacramento. You know, I mean, I don't.
Well, first of all, Eric, it's hard. They've drafted not great, but first of all, Eric, I mean, remember Vlade Divac? I think he took, if I'm not mistaken, Divac took Bagley Jr. right over Luka Dončić. Remember, I think he took Bagley out of Duke. Remember, they could give him some painkillers. E. All right, well, listen. So you got the Eagles. I got Mahomes Magic, and like I said before, guess who they got? Taylor Swift. The NBA, and you know the NFL, Eric, what's more important on the field after the game than Taylor Swift coming down and they showing her in the box?
Yeah.
I mean, that's great for the NFL, right? And Roger Goodell.
Of course.
Anyway, E, so just so you know, if it's close, as you know, E, if it's close, right, every call is going to, at the very end of the game, going to the Chiefs.
I'm going.
Just know that.
I'm going Philadelphia.
Taylor Swift.
I'm going
Taylor Swift.
Let's go. Come on, Philadelphia.
I got to talk about this last statement, Eric, because I argue with everybody about this, and now everybody's coming over to my side, right? So, Eric, in the beginning of the year, I said I thought Cooper Flagg was great. I've been saying this since high school. Is that fair?
Yes.
I've been telling people Cooper Flagg is great. Okay. Cooper Flagg is leading Duke in the 5 major statistical categories. 5 major, leading them in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. Okay. I don't understand at this point how people like you still not giving this man, right, his flowers and what he deserves. He's the best player in college basketball right now. He's the best player, and he's the unanimous #1 pick in college basketball. In the NBA draft. Broome is great for Auburn. They're 1 and 2 in the country. I love Broome, right? What he's doing is great. Bruh, how good is Cooper Flagg? Are you going to now acquiesce and agree that Cooper Flagg is the real deal?
No, I ain't going to say that.
Oh my God!
And he's not the best. So he's not the best player in college basketball. Broome is.
How?
To me, how? Right now they rank #1. They rank #1. They rank #1. Even though Duke beat them head to head, I give you that. Duke.
I'm about to say, and they lost to who?
They lost to Duke. I give you that.
Okay.
But the guy is a double machine. This guy's a double machine, Frank. Auburn. And Bruce Pearl got
Eric, he's a double machine. Cooper Flagg leads Duke in 5 categories. 5. I mean, you're talking about 2 categories. 5.
Frank. Broome is the
and by the way, and Broome, this is, you could argue that Broome is an MVP caliber, right? I can't. That's a valid argument, Eric. Yeah. Like, I'm going Flagg. You can go Broome. But 1 and 2 in the country, Duke and Auburn. Duke beat Auburn in their head-to-head. But valid argument, right? Like, if it ended today and Broome won it, right? It's like 49-51. It could be 49 Broome or 51 Flagg, 51 Broome, 49 Flagg, right? Like, realistically, Eric, maybe even 50.5, 49.5. I mean, it's that close. If you win Broome, I get it. But it's no way Broome was winning over Cooper Flagg, right? With Duke, Cooper Flagg, the face of the new face of college basketball. You hear all these Duke guys coming out saying Cooper Flagg is the best Duke prospect ever as a freshman, right? Everybody's saying that, right? He's complete. Jason Williams said it. Jay Billis said it. All these guys said he's the best, most talented prospect ever to play at Duke. Now, I tend to disagree because I think, but Eric, I think he's the second best though. Like, outside of Grant Hill, right? Outside of Grant Hill, there's no Duke freshman that came in, right? That had, and as you watch him as a freshman in college, right? That were better prospects than him. Freshman year in college.
Where you leave Kyrie at?
Not as a better prospect than Cooper Flagg.
The man only played 8 games, and he was phenomenal for those 8 games.
But okay, great. So therefore, 8 games, great. They both would be drafted first. But I think most people would take a 6'9", Mr. Everything over a 6'1" guard. And by the way, let's be clear. Flagg does everything, right? Kyrie played 8 games and does one thing.
Okay.
Flagg is a way more complete player than Kyrie Irving was in high school. Excuse me, in college at Duke. Right? Outside of Grant Hill, okay, I don't know that after Grant Hill's freshman year when they won the national championship, right? And by the way, Grant Hill, I don't think Grant Hill wasn't the first pick in the draft either. Flagg will be.
Yeah, okay.
As an FYI. Okay? Cooper Flagg. So if you're drafting, and by the way, Ace Bailey is coming on in a major way. Ace Bailey is lighting it up right now. Kid from Rutgers is great. Dylan Harper from Rutgers is great. Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, great players. Eric, if you were drafting today, who are you taking first?
Well, obviously, that's a no-brainer. Of course, you got to take Cooper Flagg. That's a no-brainer.
Why?
I mean, he brings so much to the franchise, right? First of all, he's what we're talking about.
You're the kind of guy, though, right? The kind of quarterbacks you like. By the way,
we're talking about.
I told you this before.
Right?
He's going to the Utah Jazz.
And if he goes to
Utah,
that franchise is going to skyrocket, right?
He's going to Utah, Eric. Ryan Smith is making Utah cool. Hockey team now, Jazz cooler. Yeah. They're making Utah cool. AJ DeBenster, they brought Utah Prep out there, right? Now BYU is cool. They got the #1 high school player in the country. Yeah. Utah is becoming cool, right? Everybody's trying to make Utah a cool place. It's money there.
They had the All-Star game a couple years ago in Utah, right?
Yeah, it's money there, E. So imagine bringing Cooper Flagg to Utah. Oh, my goodness.
That's what I'm saying.
That'll be a movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, I mean, listen, wherever franchise he goes to, Utah will be the ideal fit. But whatever franchise he goes to, the organization and the franchise is going to skyrocket, ticket sales, memorabilia, all that.
I tell you where he won't be going, Eric. I tell you where he won't be going. As bad as they need him, the worst team in the NBA right now, the Washington Wizards.
He won't be going there.
Right?
Hell no.
Ain't no way they send him to Chocolate City. Ain't no way they send him there.
Thing. If no way they send him to Chocolate City. No way.
No way he going there. Woo! No way he going there. Just so you know. Sorry, Washington Wizards, but you got to do what you got to do with Alex Sarr and those guys because you ain't getting.
If he goes to Washington, he is going to get turned out by some of them sisters out there.
Yeah, but he ain't going to Washington. You ain't got to think about that. He ain't going there. So it ain't going to be that.
There. He definitely not
He's going to be in Utah with his New Balance. Boy from Maine in Utah. No, he will not be going.
He's definitely not going to.
But he would not be going there. But anyway, I love the way Harper and Ace Bailey are playing. Ace Bailey is great upside, but Cooper Flagg is the real deal. I said it. He would be the first pick in the draft. And by the way, he'll be a great defensive NBA player. I'm not saying he's going to come and get 25 a game. That's not his game, right? 30 a game. But what he is as complete a player as you'll get. And I think he's going to come to the NBA and be a really, really good NBA player. And I think he'll be a great defensive player in the NBA. I think he'll be a really good player, but a great, first team all defensive kind of player in the NBA.
Yeah, I think he will be that. Hey,
he'll be an elite defense. Yeah. You got the man, elite defensive player, by far the best player in the draft, right? And you still don't think he's a great player.
No,
it's unbelievable, bro.
I don't think he's a guy that could carry you put the team on his back and he can lead you to a championship. He'll be a good young player, eventually be a great player. I don't think he's the type of guy that you could carry the team on his back and propel the team to championship aspiration and get him that far. I think he's a great player, but I don't think he has that type of ability to get his team to the championship and win NBA finals. I don't think he could do that. That's my thing. As a franchise player.
Last question on the day. Who you got winning the NCAA championship this year? And by the way, you better not say Duke, right? After you pick Janai Broome over Cooper Flagg, right? You better not say Duke, bro. I got Duke winning it all, and I don't even like Duke, but I think Duke's the best team in the country. They're the best team in the country.
So let's narrow it down to the Final Four. Let's go to the Final Four. Then we can narrow it down to champion.
I got Duke winning it. Huh?
Final four.
Duke, Auburn, Iowa State, probably. Duke, Auburn, Iowa State, and maybe Houston.
Ooh, okay.
Duke, Auburn, Iowa State, and Houston.
I got Alabama.
You
I
crazy?
got Alabama.
No way. And by the way, example of a player that went back to college and should have like Mark Sears is having a terrible year, and they recruit all these young guards that are just taking his playing time. But anyway, cool. Who you got? Alabama. Who else?
Auburn, obviously. I got Auburn, Alabama.
Uh-huh.
I'll throw in Duke. In the Final Four. And
don't throw in Duke. No, don't throw in Duke. Are they a Final Four team? Don't throw them in there if they're not.
Throw in Duke and I still think Kansas. Could turn it around and get there. I think Kansas.
So Kansas has a talent, Eric, but I think Kansas is the example of sometimes the pieces don't fit. They went out there and they spent the most money in NIL, and they went and got all these players. They got the kid from Wisconsin, Store. They got the kids they got all these players to come in, Eric. Right? Griffin from Alabama. They got all these kids to come in, Eric, and they paid the most NIL, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Look what happened, Eric. It's imploding. And let me tell you who's my team that's right outside, my sleeper team. I got two sleeper teams right outside the four. Two sleeper teams, E. The two sleeper teams I got one, Purdue, right? I think Purdue is a team that's a lot better than people think. I like Purdue, and I also like Michigan State. I think Izzo got a nice group right now, Eric. Purdue and Michigan State are two teams right outside of that four that I think could really be in that four as well. But I think Duke is the best team in the country. Houston will get there, Eric, but they can't win it because they don't have enough offense. Right? Great defensive team. They don't play enough offense. I think Iowa State is really, really good, Eric. I think Auburn is tough, but I think Duke's the best team in the country. So I think Cooper Flagg is going to cut down the nets, right? Put him over his head and say, Eric, how you say that? De Mio? De Mio. Del Mio. That's what he's going to say to you, Eric, on national TV, right? But anyway, E, with that being the case, bro, this is the time, as you know we do, man. Shout out we give you the floor. You shout out your Dominican brothers and sisters in the marketplace, doing great things.
I want to give out to all, as you know, right? The Dominican Republic holds winter baseball, and it was a big rivalry championship game between El Licey and Los Leones Escogido, and Los Leones won the championship in dramatic fashion. So I want to give out all those Dominican players out there that won the championship on Los Leones. Shout out to y'all. Congratulations. I mean, it was dramatic fashion. I mean, this guy hit a home run, Frank, and it probably took him 2 minutes to run around the base.
I saw it, Eric. The guy, they celebrated in between home plate and first base. Yeah. They celebrated in between third. But come on, bro. I'm surprised the pitcher didn't attack him or something. Somebody throw a ball at him. That celebration was egregious.
Baseball in the Dominican Republic is off the chain. Like that's
so many great players, clearly. Hey, by the way, and it looked like every Dominican player was at the game in the dugout.
Yeah.
It was like 50 guys in the dugout. It was every Dominican great player was there.
It was phenomenal. It was crazy. It was like pandemonium. The guy hit a home run. Like literally, it took him 2 minutes to run around the bases, Frank.
I saw it, Eric. The guy was celebrating, 10 times on the base path.
Oh man, listen.
Unbelievable.
What these guys bring to baseball, and this is what baseball needs, Frank. They need some excitement, Frank. We can't just sit back and watch baseball.
Not that kind of excitement. Not that kind of excitement, because that pitcher is headhunting after that. The pitcher's headhunting after that.
Yeah, but we need some excitement, man. So shout out to those guys, man, and congratulations to those guys, man. Phenomenal job.
Yeah. All right, well, listen, man, it's been real as always. You understand what I'm saying? We'll do it again soon.
Yes.
We out. Yes. Like, subscribe, keep showing love. Yes. We're so excited how everything is turning out and going so well.
Other platforms, taking our stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, what they say, you know what I mean? When people copying you, right, that's the highest form of when they mocking you, right, that's the highest form of flattery.
Yes. So
right? They know what the greatness is.
Thank you, guys.
Right? Yeah, they're stealing. That's the highest form of flattery where they're stealing the content and the ideas. But it's all good. We're going to keep going.
Yes.
The greatness can't be held down or stopped. Yeah. All right, E, we out, man. Right.